think we're back?
Are we though?
No.
You can't be back if you never left. I've been hiding in the listener's basement.
Oh, shit.
I was inside the closet. What's up, guys? We're back for another episode today. Oh, no. Oh, no. We have to get our good 10 minutes of banter out of the way first.
Yeah, there you go. No.
I realize a lot of the episodes just start like that. We sidetrack so much on these fucking episodes.
It's all right, though. That's what makes it so fresh and so clean.
So special.
Yes, you're my special boy.
You're my special boy.
Ooh, so what are we talking about today, young sir?
Today we're going to talk about, I don't think we've ever talked about this actually.
We have not.
We're talking about imaginary friends.
And not the kind that make you biscuits and crumpets.
Not the fun ones.
No. So what is an imaginary friend, or what is some concerns of imaginary friends?
Okay. So we're going to dive in we're going balls deep in this. Ready? So historically, many researchers and parents thought that imaginary companions were harmful or evil, and that they were a sign of social deficit, demonic possession, or mental illness. Certainly, it scares many parents today when they have children who they're talking to people who aren't there. I mean, it'd be terrifying. But growing up, that's what I always was told, that it's like imaginary friends are evil, or they're devils or they're demons deceiving you. And a lot of parents growing up just thought that, like, a lot of the adults worry that the imaginary friends are like they're harbingers of serious psychopathology to come. But a lot of people, they think that they're just like delusions or hallucinations from the kid, but it's not really, because the kids know that they're not real and they know that they're in control. So as part of it, they know that there's no one there. They acknowledge that there's no one there, but since they have like such like a wide fucking like a broad of like imagination, that's just like endless boundaries for them to cross. It's just like, oh well, this is a person and this and this and this.
And in reality, it's a demon.
I mean, it's sometimes I don't want to say it's always a demon. But
No. Sometimes it is just legit imagination.
Yeah, it's just a kid with overactive imagination.
But it's when they start seeing things and they're like, oh yeah, my friend did it. And then something breaks and it's like no one was home. Oh yeah, Billy did it. My imaginary.
See, imaginary friends can be like nice. Like, what's the name of that one from Inside Out?
Oh,
the feeling, the fucking Bing Bong.
Yes.
See, there can be friendly ones like Bing Bong and be helpful and super nice. But we don't have a helpful and super nice podcast here, do we?
No, we do not.
We cover the other side of the natural. We cover the supernatural.
The evil side.
Exactly. So we're here with a couple stories of imaginary friends that went wrong.
Yeah.
Some dark friends.
So these are some parents describing their kids' creepy imaginary friends.
It's always terrifying when you're the parent in that situation.
Yeah, so these are really brief, but
there's a lot of
interesting.
Them. Yeah. All right, man. Lead us off. What you got? No.
All right. So this is You'll Get Used to Killing.
What? I hate that they always have like these super like crazy titles. And you know what? Just go ahead. It's fine. Go ahead.
A parent of one of my students told us in a meeting that she was concerned because her son, 7 years old, talked about an invisible ghost who would talk to him and play with him in his room. He said the ghost was called the Captain and was an old white guy with a beard. The kid would tell his mom that the Captain told him when he grows up, his job will be to kill people. And the Captain would tell him who needed to be killed. The kid would cry and say he doesn't want to kill when he grows up, but the Captain tells him he doesn't have a choice and he'll get used to killing after a while.
What the fuck?
The next one is Little Girl Ghost.
Oh my God.
When my daughter was 3, she had an imaginary friend named Kelly who lived in her closet. Kelly sat in a little rocking chair while she slept, played with her, etc. Typical imaginary friend shit. Anyway, fast forward 2 years later, the wife and I are watching the new Amityville, the one with Ryan Reynolds, and our daughter walks out right when the dead girl goes all black-eyed. Far from being disturbed, she said, "That looks like Kelly." Kelly who, we say. You know, the dead girl that lived in my closet.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
No, man, that's too much. That's too much.
There's a couple other ones, but it's been hard to pick because some of them are pretty damn creepy. But another one that's fairly short, unfortunately, actually really short. It's called Smash Daddy's Head.
What?
When my brother was just learning how to talk, he grabbed one of those small toy hammers, crawled under the sofa where my dad was sleeping. He then leant in close and whispered in one of his first sentences, "Smash Daddy's head," right into his ear.
That's why that kid would have gone with those fucking Bruce Lee, the 1-inch punches.
Yeah.
Kid-ya! Oh, not hesitate to scissor kick a fucking child. These hands are ready to eat for everyone.
And then I have one more for you.
All right, tell me what you got, baby.
Icy wants me to tell you it will be tonight. In high school, one of my best friends had a little sister who was 5 or 6 years old. One day we stopped by his place, completely high because he needed to get his magic cards. Sounds familiar.
Oh my God.
While waiting for him to come downstairs, his sister came up to me and said, "Icy told me to ask you if you know when you're going to die." I laughed nervously. Morbid question, right? But I know all about Icy, her imaginary friend. I even helped her draw a picture of him once, so I played along and said, "No, of course not. No one knows that. Hopefully when I'm very old." The girl shook her head sadly and said, "No. Icy wants me to tell you it'll be tonight." And with that, she just walked away.
I would grab that kid by the hair, like, the fuck you say? What'd you say?
I will not die tonight. Not in this.
Fuck you and your imaginary friend. All right, so I got a couple of them.
Let's hear what you got.
All right, so my first one's called Mr. Nobody. His name was Mr. Nobody. He started as the person the kids would blame if one of them forgot to flush the toilet. Then his mythology evolved. For the record, all of this was conceived by 3 of my kids who at the time were 6, 5, and 3 years old. Mr. Nobody has no eyes, no teeth, no tongue, and no nose. He doesn't wear pants and leaves the used toilet paper between his butt cheeks so you can tell where he is by his smell. He doesn't wear a shirt, but he has a pocket cut into his skin where he keeps the keys to our house. He can be invisible. He had a beard since he was a baby. He bites off his fingernails and then drips blood when he walks. Thankfully, been a few years since Mr. Nobody has been in our house.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's just a little bit terrifying.
Yeah, that's I have a watchful companion.
Ooh.
Our youngest daughter asked to keep our bedroom door open because her imaginary friend couldn't open doors. We laughed it off and figured she was just afraid and wanted to be able to see us or know we were home if she woke up in the middle of the night. The next day I casually asked what her friend did at night, and she said she likes to sleep at the end of our bed and watch us sleep. We asked how often she speaks with her, and she said she really only likes to talk and come out at night. We asked her to draw a picture of her friend, and the drawing shows really sharp teeth and a lump on her head. We eventually moved, and her friend didn't come with us, but our daughter says she'd probably find us. That was 8 years ago, and we haven't heard about her since we moved. I'm hoping she's lost.
Oh, Jesus. Demon.
Yeah. That was, that's where the kid starts getting fucking scissor kicked. I'm telling you, man, fucking imaginary friends are no joke.
No.
I have a sweeter one here, I believe. This one's called Grammy.
Aww.
I heard my 3-year-old son talking up a storm in his room, pausing as if he was listening to another person answer him. No one was with him, so I asked who he was talking to, and he said, "Grammy. She came for a visit." Grammy was my husband's grandmother who died in our house 3 years before our son was born. We figured she just wanted to spend some time with him. She stayed around for a couple months, then never saw her again. See, that one's a sweeter one.
I found a decently sized one.
All right, go for it, buddy.
This one is Emily. When my sister was probably about 6 or 7, she had an imaginary friend named Emily. She told us Emily lived in her closet, wore an old black dress, and had long dark hair, and she was the same age as my sister. My sister played with Emily constantly. My parents started noticing my sister acting weird, just sitting in the middle of her room whispering to Emily quite a bit. and acting a lot more distant towards them. I remember a very specific day my brother was walking by her room, and my sister was sitting in the middle of her room, but she turned around and hissed at him. He was scared shitless. He told me it didn't even look like my sister. My parents ran up to her room, and I could hear my sister just screaming and screaming as loud as she can, "Get out!"
Oh my God.
I have no idea what happened in that room, but I ran to the bottom of my stairs and the screaming stopped. I saw my parents holding my sister, crying their eyes out. She was sobbing as well. I've asked her about it today. She's 24 now. She told me that Emily used to tell her to do horrible things to herself.
Yeah.
She actually used to wake up on the roof and not remember how she got there. I'm not kidding. Apparently, Emily absolutely hated my parents, so she turned my sister against them. She hates talking about it, so I never brought up that specific night. This all happened at my old house. When we moved into a different house, Emily was gone. I'm not making any of this up. My sister's little friend was a really big deal to my family and messed things up for a long time. I'm just relieved we left that house.
The fuck? That was all right. I got one more, and then I'll tell you one that I read earlier today, but I couldn't find, so I'm just have to retell it from memory.
All right.
So this one's called Willow Rose. My stepbrother had an imaginary friend named Willow Rose. One night my mom found the dog dead outside. My stepbrother admitted to killing the dog because Willow Rose told him to do it. The next day he disappeared. Mom told me he went to go live with grandma for a while. I'm 21 years old now and I haven't seen him since. My stepbrother once told me what Willow Rose looked like before he got sent away. Apparently she was a 14-year-old girl who died in 1904. She had no eyes but wore glasses, had paper white skin, and wore a ruffled pink dress with olive green socks.
Jesus.
All right, so I got one more, but this is the one off of my memory.
And then after you, I'll have one more as well.
Okay. So this one's basically a girl retelling that when she was younger, she used to stay over at her older sister's house.
Right.
And her older sister had a daughter, so her niece?
I believe so.
It would be her niece, that she would always go and she'd like stand in her room and she'd talk to somebody. And they'd always ask her, "Who are you talking to?" And she'd always say, "He told me not to tell you his name." So then they kept asking her and she'd never answer. She'd always just ignore it, or she wouldn't just tell him. And then they asked, like, "Why doesn't he want you to tell his name?" Said, "Because if I tell you his name, you guys are going to get scared." So then they're like, "Okay, all right, whatever, weirdo." And then one day she was out in the hallway talking and she didn't know that her mom and her aunt were in the next room and they were listening in on her.
Right.
And she was, during conversation, she drops the imaginary friend's name.
Mm.
You want to take a guess at what the name was?
Devil.
It was Lucifer.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so the lady said she left and she tried not to go over or hang out with the niece as much. I was like, that's crazy, though.
That is pretty fucking crazy. What's your name, Lucy? This is The Evil is Coming. When my older daughter was 2 or 3, she used to have a couple of imaginary friends. Friends. Dodo and Dee Dee. They were typical imaginary friends. She would talk to them and play with them and tell me about their lives. Then one day, when she was about 3, she was talking on her play phone when I walked into the room. She hung up her phone and said to me with a completely flat voice and deadpan expression, "The evil is coming."
Fuck that noise. See, that freaks me out. So let's jump into the Q&A portion of this. Did you ever have an imaginary friend?
Not that I can remember, but that's because back in the day, my cousin was like my brother, so I was just always at his house or he was always at mine. I mean, we didn't have imaginary friends, but we grew up around some paranormal ass shit.
Oh, yeah, that's not the same thing.
What about you? Did you have an imaginary friend?
I did not. Not that I know of. My mom never told me anything about it. But my youngest niece from my oldest sister, she had an imaginary friend named Emily.
Oh no, there was an Emily.
Yeah, her name was Emily. Now I'm remembering it. And I don't think she ever did anything devious. She was just like, oh, Emily says this, or Emily wants to go and do this. And we just chalked it up to her having an active imagination.
Right.
But hearing a lot of these stories, and then it starts like attacking the kid, or like telling the kid to do bad shit, or like it's making the kid do something bad.
Yeah.
So it always ends up badly, and then the parents just end up moving.
Well, and see, I've heard of things like that, but, people not moving, but just something happening, something breaking or getting destroyed or someone getting hurt. And they're like, oh, no, it wasn't me. It was Fluffy, my imaginary friend.
Yeah.
Of course, with a more devious name like David or Susan Sarandon.
Jesus.
But
sponsor us.
Charlie Sheen.
No.
But it's always just, that, and then it just either gets worse and then goes away once they get a little older, or it just doesn't go away. It's just a constant.
So my thing is, in a lot of descriptions of like imaginary friends, they're always like deformed or sharp teeth or like bloody fingers. And you guys start wondering what the fuck is going on with these kids, because I don't remember my niece started telling me that Emily was all deformed or some shit.
Yeah, it's like they're
monsters.
They're not seeing people; they're seeing monsters.
Or when they are seeing people, then people are like mean to them, or they're like deformed, or like I read like 2-3 stories today where the parents are like, "Oh, where does your friend live?" They'd be like, "Oh, he lives under the dirt." And you're like, "What? What the fuck you just say?"
Well, I mean, I remember at an apartment that we lived in a while back. It's called Sabrina's Place over on 22nd in Columbus.
Yeah.
There was some weird shit there, and I remember the kids had a lot of nightmares. And there was a couple times where I'd get home and there'd be a kid in the hallway bathroom, so I'd say, "Hey, go use mine." And they would refuse. And I would ask why, and they'd always say, and I'm getting chills talking about it.
Oh, damn.
But they would tell me, "That's where the monster lives." And I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Shit.
And it was in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And it's like they would see monsters there and sometimes in the girls' room. And it was just, weird shit would happen.
Now that I'm thinking about it, you think that kids have like a deeper perception of like the paranormal that we do? Because I feel like after a while we just kind of start like blocking it out and shit. And I believe that's probably what we see out of the corner of our eyes is what they can see like full on.
I think because they don't have much to worry about. Their spectrum is a lot more broad. Like we're focused on life, relationships, anger, jobs, bills, work.
Yeah.
Like so much shit that we're blinding ourselves.
We're like corrupted to all this stuff.
Yeah, where it's like they're innocent, they're pure, they haven't had to deal with any of the real hardships of the world besides getting in timeout or spanking. But it's like they, just like animals can sense shit and see shit.
I was about to bring up that point, like you think that's the exact same reason fucking animals just stare off into the corner?
And it's just like, when they're seeing monsters, like don't take it lightly. Don't think they're just fucking around. Because mean, in that apartment, we actually did an investigation.
Yeah.
Because the kids, at that point there was, I think, 7 of them.
Yeah.
So there would always be someone fighting. Oh, so and so hurt me. Oh, they did this. So like now there were cameras in the kids' rooms.
Yeah.
And one night I'm just looking over some of the footage, and you see this weird white thing form in the middle of the room, go across the floor, and it disappears under this toy vacuum. And then when we were doing the investigation, we asked, if it was nice or evil. And of course, you can never trust what it says. But when I said, if you're nice, we did the flashlight trick where you have one of the push button flashlights.
Yeah.
You tighten it enough to where if you push the button barely, it'll turn on. But if it moves, it doesn't turn on.
Yeah.
And the fucking flashlight turned on. And when I looked on the camera, myself and the person that was there doing it with me were on opposite sides of the room. Neither one of us reached towards that flashlight.
Fucking shit, dude. Yeah, but I always think that it's always like something. It's got to be something because I don't think imaginary friends are that they're harmless. I feel like maybe 90% of the time it's something trying to get into our realm using the kid.
Very possible, using their energy.
And I've read a couple of stories where they're like, "Oh, well, it's the what's it called? Sorry, it's a family member. It's the fucking like it's the grandma passing by, or like they'd be like, "Oh, my imaginary friend does this." I read a story right now that I had an imaginary friend. It was a tall guy, and he always used to do the cross on the kid's like forehead before he went to bed every night. And the kid told the dad this, and the dad's dad, so the kid's grandfather, passed away before the kid was even born. But apparently, the grandfather used to do that to the dad when he was a boy. He'd always give him the cross before bed.
Yeah, like blessing.
Yep, yep. And the grandfather passed away like years before the kid was even born.
See, so sometimes it can be, something innocent, but if they're saying monsters are explaining something bad, then
Yeah.
you need to figure something out, because that's not going to end well. Something's going on, and it's, a lot of people, they'll take them to a psychologist and they'll say, oh, well, there must be some trauma going on at home, this, that, and the other, which, yes, in some case might be true. That sort of seeing or feeling all this just craziness all day can manifest something that in their mind they see, or they see their family as monsters. So that's what they see.
Yeah.
But at other times, it can be a home where there's no stress, no fighting, no anything, and they're still seeing that. And at that point, it's not coming from the parents or the family. So where's it coming from?
Yeah, that's what freaks me out even more is when they have like just a little kid and they'll bring up like details that little kids shouldn't know. Like, oh, he's buried over there, or he died this year, and then the parents will do like research. And I've read a couple cases where they'll bring out like a picture of like the family that lived there before, and the kids not knowing any of the people. They're not related to them or anything. They don't know them. They haven't heard anything. They're just little kids. They'll bring out a picture and they'll be like, "Does anybody here look familiar?" And they'll point at the one person and be like, "Oh, that's Jennifer." And then they'll turn the card on the back and it says the name of everybody in that picture, and it says Jennifer is the little girl's name, and apparently she like died in the basement or some shit.
Yeah, so I don't know. I would put it as some of it might just be, ghosts that don't mean anything, or that are just looking for some sort of communication to feel normal, like an intelligent haunt. And then others are kind of wonky, dangerous assholes.
My niece from my oldest brother, I remember one time I was hanging out with them, and I've told you that they've had their house like a cleansing, and they've gone through and they've cleansed the house and they blessed it, because the same thing that they were all starting to see shit and starting to hear shit. And I mean, I even heard stuff when I was over there during the cleansing.
Oh no, that was me. I farted. It was before I knew
Yeah.
you, but I ventrilo farted.
Yeah, but before that, like maybe like a month before that, I was hanging out with my niece in the living room, and my niece is maybe like, I want to say like 4. No, she was like 3 at the time.
Mhm.
Just barely starting to talk. And my older brother's like, "Can you put it down for a nap?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I tried putting him in the master bedroom, which is his bedroom. And I tried laying her down, and she started crying. She's like, "No." And then she just ran out to the living room. I was like, "What?" She's like, "There's 7 monsters in there." So I was like, "Hold the fuck up. What?" This is when like they first started telling me about all the shit that was going on. So I was like, looking at that back now, I was like, maybe she saw shit that we didn't, or they didn't see until later on.
Yeah, the shit that started affecting them.
Yeah, because their kids are very perceptive to that shit, dude. They're like, they know what's going on. They're like, we'll just think like, oh, it's an overactive imagination. I was like, oh, they're just messing around, or they're just playing and all that stuff. But no, they know what the fuck's going on. They see shit that we don't. So
I know from experience. Like one time they didn't want to go in the kitchen in that same apartment because they said there was a monster, and all of a sudden the trash can lid, it was on the trash can, closed, no reason for it to fall off. It was like one of the snapping ones.
Yeah.
And it just fucking flew off into the kitchen.
It's like, don't expose me.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, never just chalk it up to imagination.
Yeah, in my mom's fucking house, I remember we had my nephew stay over for a sleepover, and he must have been like 14, 15.
Yeah.
So he was already old. And I slept in my room, and he slept on the floor in my room on a mattress.
Nice.
And after that night, he never wanted to sleep over. He's like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to sleep over. I was like, what's up? He's like, I woke up like 2 a.m. and I heard like chains being dragged outside your room and like down the hallway and in the kitchen, like plates breaking and all that stuff. He's like, I tried waking you up, but you didn't wake up. And I tried calling for grandma, but she didn't wake up either. I was like, are you sure you want to sleep? He's like, no, dude. Like I sat up and then I stood up and I was just like trying to like secure the door closed so nothing would come in here. But he's like, I'm not staying here anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's terrifying. That's the same room when I started having that. I'm pretty sure I've covered it on this. It was either this podcast or the Mashed and Pango, where I was talking about when I had that month-long sleep paralysis every single night.
Yeah.
That's same room, same house.
Ah.
I think it might have been around the same time then.
So my question is, when he said that there was stuff breaking, was there actually anything broken?
Nothing. All the plates are perfectly fine. Nothing happened. But yeah, that's...
Trust your kids. Trust them.
Yeah. Don't take stuff for
granted.
Don't take it lightly. If they're telling you something, it's because kids are perceptive and they know. Sometimes it is that they just like have an overactive imagination. But as you've heard from the last couple of stories, it's really nothing to be taken lightly.
Do your due diligence.
Protect them kids.
Yes, exactly. Kids above all.
All right, man. So I think we should probably be wrapping this episode up. It's getting kind of late and I still got to drive home by myself.
True. You're going to be playing John Mayer the whole way home.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. We've been listening to comedy the whole ride.
There you go. Something to laugh at.
Yep.
Just look at a picture of my face. You'll get plenty of laughs.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode, and we'll be back next week. Love you.